Welcome to the summary of The Psychopathology of Everyday Life by Sigmund Freud. Let's uncover the gems together. Key point 1. Accidental honesty. To err is human, as the saying goes. And what can be more human and relatable than making small slips of the tongue, squinting eyebrows when you forget the name, or suddenly pausing when you mix up the dates? It's not that big of a deal. It's even better if you can just crack jokes about it afterward. However, famous neurologist and psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud was more serious about these slip-ups. In his book Psychopathology of Everyday Life, Freud explored the concept of parapraxis. Parapraxis is any faulty action, like slipping a name or walking in the wrong direction, and Freud argued that these are not unconscious errors. On the contrary, our subconsciousness wants to repress some thoughts and ideas, and therefore unintentionally pushes us to forget or mess up seemingly trivial things. Your mistakes tell a better story of you than your successes. What exactly does our psyche want us to forget or hide? This summary will answer this question. Moreover, in the end, you will find a practical try this section to help you rediscover yourself. So, let's get started. Key point 2. Forgetting on purpose. You are casually walking on the street when you see one of your acquaintances you first met a few months ago. You want to greet them, but the words get stuck in your mouth. You've forgotten their name. Then dozens of other names appear in your mind, and each does not seem right. It is a bit of an awkward situation, right? But do not jump to conclusions and assume you have a weak memory. Here is what Freud had to say about this. There is a repressed element in your psyche. By this, Freud meant any disturbing, anxious, or socially unaccepted thoughts that your subconscious does not want to let out. For example, it can be memories of traumatic childhood experiences, feelings of shame and fear, or sexual thoughts. By intentionally wanting to forget these abnormal ideas, your subconsciousness unintentionally forgets the other things in your head. That's why you might forget the names you thought you would always remember. The choice of words you forget is not random. Often, there is an external connection between the repressed idea and the forgotten name. Freud provided a case study based on his own life experiences. While on a trip, he wanted to talk about a famous painter with his traveling companion. Instead of the name, Freud wanted to mention Signorelli. Two others, Botticelli and Boltraffio, came to mind. Freud later tried to look for a clue in the context. He traveled around Bosnia and Herzegovina after visiting his patient in Trafoi. The patient was struggling with a severe sexual disorder. How could all these pieces potentially come together and make him forget Signorelli? Let's start with the repressed thought. During the conversation, Freud was thinking about Bosnian Turks, namely about their high value of sexual pleasure. It was inappropriate to share this with his traveling companion, so Freud's mind tried to suppress this thought. All other things from his surroundings, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Trafoi, Herr, as he addressed his companion in German, came together in the faulty names he could remember, Botticelli and Boltraffio. As you can see, two words connected so many dots from Freud's subconscious, but that's the whole point of the psyche. It is never simple. A blank memory isn't empty. It's full of things you're not ready to see. You've hit a daily streak by completing 3 key points. Great job! Key point 3. Understanding Freudian slip. Have you ever experienced dreams where bizarre, surreal objects or events suddenly appear? You might notice that these mixes somehow relate to your life. It's as if your subconscious interweaves all your thoughts and experiences, revealing hidden links that might otherwise elude you. In his other well-known work, The Interpretation of Dreams, Freud explained this process as compression. Interestingly, this phenomenon can go beyond the dream world and become present in your speech, namely in slips of the tongue. Everybody knows about the Freudian slip. It is widely used in popular culture when the characters in a movie get a slip of the tongue that accidentally reveals everything about their intentions. Though the films create a comical effect, Freud believed these slips could expose not-so-pleasant parts of our subconscious. They are not accidental, and just like in the case of forgetting names, slips of the tongue mean something repressed in the subconscious, like trauma or discomfort. Misspoken words are simply unfiltered thoughts in disguise. No one is immune to this subconscious expression. Freud recalled the moment when the president of the Austrian parliament was about to open the session, but instead of doing so, he closed it in his declaration. Was he in a bad mood and simply wanted to go home? Or was he anxious to discuss some matters at this meeting? The motives of his actions are open to interpretation. Another case involved a woman whose parents matched her with a man she didn't like. On the surface, she didn't let her true feelings transpire, but when her parents asked about her impressions, she responded that the man was liebenswidrig, which is German for averse to love. What she meant to say was liebenswürdig, which means charming. Hidden patterns are everywhere, in dreams, behaviors, and random mistakes. Are you curious about how to recognize yours? Stick around. Practical steps are waiting at the end. Key point 4. The lost files of your childhood. Which childhood memories keep returning to you in your thoughts and nostalgic reflections the most? Is it the prize you got in first grade, or unexpectedly, the smell of cookies from the shop nearby? Does your memory keep track of all your huge childhood moments, or surprise you with random recollections you never thought you had? Random things are not random when it comes to your psyche. Trivial memories emerging in your brain might be screen memories that substitute something substantial that happened in your childhood. This revelation clashes with the widespread belief that kids have some sort of childhood amnesia and cannot remember all the things that happened to them. Freud stated that they do remember everything, but their psyche is selective. In forgetting names, we know that the substitute names are incorrect. In reproducing screen memories, we are surprised to find that we have them at all. Sigmund Freud. The same goes for faulty memories, something you might remember differently from your family or friends. It is not you who remembers incorrectly. Your subconscious distorts the facts to keep something hidden deep inside you. So, how do you figure out what you suppressed? The only way is to analyze your trivial childhood memories thoroughly. Here is how one of Freud's clients did this. When he was 24, he remembered a scene that happened to him when he was 5. He sat on a chair in the garden while his aunt taught him the alphabet. He couldn't distinguish between the letters N and M and asked his aunt to explain the difference, to which she responded that M has an additional stroke to it. Later in life, the man realized why this learning moment stuck in his memory. At that fragile age, he was curious to learn the difference between boys and girls. The additional stroke in the letter M reflected what he had learned about girls and boys, with boys having additional body parts. Given how conservative society was, he might have felt ashamed of his strong interest in that topic. That's why his psyche replaced that memory with a screen memory, where he was learning the alphabet. A child's mind is a canvas, and every experience leaves a mark. Key point 5. Emotional blind spots. The process of forgetting is a true riddle, because how do two people who experienced the same event remember it differently? Why does their psyche push different things to the back of their minds? Or why are some people more prone to forgetting their intentions and plans than others, even though their memory is perfectly fine? According to Freud, the key to this riddle lies in the feeling of dislike. Let's explore these two situations in more detail. Forgetting intentions. You might blame your inattention when you forget to book a doctor's appointment or call a friend as promised. But under usual circumstances, attention or lack of it plays little role. As you intend to do something, your brain receives instructions similar to those under hypnosis. You just go about your day, and when the time is right, your brain reminds you of your intentions. When intentions slip through the cracks, that's the sign to reevaluate your true feelings toward the intended action. Is it dislike, fear, or discomfort? For example, forgetting to book a doctor's appointment sometimes signals that you are anxious to receive some bad news about your health. The friend you always forget to call might have some tension with you that you only acknowledge at a deeper level. A proverb revealing the popular knowledge that intentions are not forgotten by chance runs, "What you forget to do once, you will forget to do again." Sigmund Freud. Forgetting impressions and knowledge. Impressions or known facts might disappear from your memory when they are too painful or uncomfortable to endure. Let's say you completely forgot the conversation you had the other day. It has never happened before, so a logical question follows. Was there something in that conversation that triggered you? Understanding the reasons behind these mental barriers can lead to greater self-awareness and emotional healing. It's often the things you seek to control the most that end up having a grip on you. Key point 6. Why a black cat is just a cat. What is your take on supernatural things? Do you believe in superstitions and bad luck? Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain and deemed it a unique sign? If yes, Freud would have disagreed with you. He advocated for the concept of determinism, which means there is no randomness or divine touch in human actions. These actions are the projections of your psychology to the outer world. Let's take, for example, favorite numbers that many people have and often pick when choosing a lottery number or dates for important events. Freud mentioned a man who loved the numbers 17 and 19. However, after deep reflection, this man realized his preferences were not random. At 17 years old, he went to university, which gave him academic freedom. At 19, he embarked on a journey that helped him make a scientific discovery that changed the course of his life. The man's conscious mind was unaware of that motivation, while his subconscious was actively looking into the outer world to find an object to assign meaning. These objects became numbers 17 and 19. Freud argued that the same logic applies to religion and mythology. The notions of heaven and hell, immortality, and good and evil are projections of people's unconscious thoughts, desires, and anxieties. Freud also found the motivation for the sensation that haunts all people from time to time: déjà vu. It is a feeling that you have already experienced this moment, and it can give off some mystic vibes. Freud, though, argued that these recollections touch upon something you have already experienced in your life, but it went unnoticed by your consciousness. Therefore, it is more of an unconscious fantasy or daydream. The real magic of superstitions is how they give you a sense of control of your life. Did you know? There is a phenomenon similar to déjà vu called déjà raconté. It is the feeling that you have already told a specific story to someone. Try this. Your subconscious constantly drops hints about what's happening beneath the surface. Use these exercises to catch your subconscious in action and uncover hidden patterns in your thoughts and behaviors. Let your mind talk. Grab a pen and free write for 5 minutes without stopping. Don't think. Just write whatever comes to mind, even if it doesn't make sense. When done, circle words or phrases that stand out. Are there recurring themes or emotions you didn't expect? Break a personal superstition. If you always take the same route to work, switch it up. If you wear a lucky item, leave it behind for a day. How does it make you feel? Anxious? Unsettled? These little discomforts reveal how much power our unconscious habits hold over us. Trigger word test. Write down 5 emotionally charged words, for example, failure, love, regret, trust, or money. Without overthinking, write the first memory or thought that comes to mind for each. These associations can reveal hidden fears, desires, or unresolved emotions. Analyze a childhood memory. Pick a seemingly random memory from your early years. Ask yourself, why this one? Could it be a screen memory covering something more significant? Your subconscious is always working, shaping your choices, reactions, and even your random forgetfulness. The more you observe it, the more control you'll gain over what usually feels automatic. Try just one of these today and see what it reveals. That's all for now. More intriguing summaries are just a click away.